All right, so exponentials, back to exponentials for my Algebra 2 students. I said the next video was going to be something different than this one. Actually, I decided to do something a little bit different for my students. We're actually going to go into more of the graphs of these versus moving on to the next type of exponential equation they'll get. So first we're going to talk about the graphs and how to identify graphs based on the equation that you get or the function that you get. So review from last video, A is the initial amount that you start with. It's the starting amount, or the y-intercept. Put that there. Y-intercept. B is going to be the growth or decay factor, and its growth if B is greater than 1, and its decay if it is between 0 and 1. So not if it's negative, but if it's between 0 and 1, 0.2, 1/4, 2/3, 0.666, between 0 and 1. Okay, so type of problem my students are going to get are they're going to get an equation, and they're going to get a multiple choice of which of these graphs match to this equation. So the first thing I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with A, because usually you can eliminate some choices by that. So A is 2. And A is my initial amount, or my y-intercept. So, okay, so we got 2. We got 2. We got 2. Oh, wait, that's -1. This graph is out because its initial amount is not 2. All right, so the next thing I'm going to move on to is I'm going to move on to B, and I'm going to decide whether that's a growth or decay. So it should be growth because 2 is greater than 1. So it should be growth. So I'm going to eliminate, okay, growth. Oh, this one's decay. So this one was growth. This one's a decay, so that's gone. This one's also growth. It's growing. Cool arrow on the end of that. Left to right, it's increasing, it's growing. So I'm down to 2 options. Now this little bit I did not get into in the last video, all right? How do you decide out of these 2 which one it is? And there's a real easy trick, and the easy trick is if you go over 1 unit, so I went over 1, so I'm gonna actually get rid of that. I went over 1, and then if you go up, find out what that new number is. And that new number would be, so this is 2, 1, 3, 4. 4, right? Well, what's 2 times 2? 4. Right? 2 times 2 is 4. When I plug in 1, when I do 2 times 2, and I plug in 1 for x, I get 4. I don't get 3. All right, so you can always go over 1 unit and up. So this one's out. That one's out. This one would be my choice. So that's the process you go through. You start with A, eliminate all the ones that don't have the right y-intercept. Then you go to B and you're like, okay, which ones are growth, which ones are decay? Which ones do I need, which ones do I not need? And then you go over 1 unit and up, over 1 unit and up. That's not 4. It needed to be right here. It wasn't. All right, it's over here. That's when it hits 4. So that one's not good. That one's growing too slow. Okay. Now let's move into, now I'm gonna draw a big graph. The opposite of this is being given the graph and needing to identify or write the equation based off of the graph. So let's draw big. Wow, I'm not about that. That is really don't care much about negatives because very rarely do exponentials go in the negatives unless if you shift it down. All right, now I need to graph something. Let's make a make that a little bit better of a curve. All right. So there's my exponential function. Let's grab this blue. All right. I need to write an equation for this function. Well, my first thing, and this is going by ones, all right, I guess, if I don't want my students to be lazy, I can't be lazy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. All right, good enough. So I need to write my equation. I'm going to write it in that form. Y equals. A is the easiest one. A is the starting point. It's right there. So it's 1. Times B. We're going to do the same trick to figure out what B was last time, or how we used B last time. And that is go over 1 unit and then go up. Now we're going to say, for the sake of this, I tried to draw it accurately, that it was going to cross at 3. What do I multiply 1 by to get 3? 3. Thank you. Awesome. Good feedback. Awkward being in class by myself. I wish my students were here. I need to put the X. All right. So an equation way to put that is, how I could have put this was, what number do I multiply 1 by to get 3? And then you just divide. So let's do another example where you actually have to do that. Try and draw it better this time. Actually, I need to erase all those numbers too. All right. Try to make this one a little bit more tricky. Have to think a little bit harder than 1s and 3s. Okay. Wow, evenly spaced, not really. All right. We're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. -1, -2, -3, 1. Now I'm going to try and draw this without giving it dead away in the beginning. Okay, I see where I'm going to. All right. Come on. All right, pretty good. My artistic ability helps out with math class. All right. So, same thing as last time. We need to write the equation. My students are just going to have to pick the right equation because it's going to be multiple choice for them. But we got y equals my starting amount, 3 times b. All right, so I'm going to go over 1 unit. I'm going to go over 1 unit, and I'm going to go up. So 3 times what number equals 6? Well, you divide by 3, and equals 2. Awesome. Or in this case, B, so 2. All right, done. I hope this helps my students and anybody else watching this video. I'm putting out quite a few more over this next 7 weeks for my students learn exponential. We're going to get the APR interest rates and learning about loans, debts, car interest rates, some fun stuff.